Hey guys, what is up? Aoki here, bringing you another coaching session. Today we are going to be coaching a player by the name of True Love 2001. They're going to be playing some Seraphine. While the game is starting up, I just want to talk a little bit because I did take a look at your OPGG. Looks like runes are good. One thing I will say is that you don't want to get caught up into the bad habit of building kind of the exact same items every single game. And also, a big red flag that I saw is that you're building Rylai's on Seraphine support, which is just not a very efficient item. It's kind of nice because, like, obviously Rylai's makes it so your first E lands, and, you don't need the first E, or your first E roots, you don't need to hit both E's, but it's just not a very good use of your item. It's a very expensive item, and it's not a very supporty item. So, again, we're coaching a player by the name of True Love 2001. Looks like they play champions like Soraka, Lux, Seraphine. These are not champions that I necessarily would recommend you to climb with as support, but I also heavily preach that you can climb with whatever you want. Champions of your playstyle and choosing. So we are starting off in Bronze 3. We've been a 3-season Bronze player, but trust us, we're going to get you out of there. We're going to get you to Silver. So let's talk about the good thing. You're the first out of the base. This is proactivity. I love to see this. I love to see the fact that you're not sitting in base. You're not, twiddling your thumbs, thinking about, oh, man, maybe I should order pizza tonight or whatever. You're out there, you're on the map because the game starts at 1 second. It doesn't start at 2 minutes like a lot of people seem to believe in low elo. So that's good, that's great. What I would highly recommend you to do in terms of pathing in early game, you want to path here. Path here on this side of the map, and path here on the other side of the map, because what that does is it allows you to watch both entrances essentially. So sometimes your team is going to be lagging behind. They're going to be thinking about what kind of pizza they want to order tonight instead of playing the game starting at 1 second. And what this is doing, you're coming down here to, I'm guessing you're going to ward the try. I would much rather you stay in here because you can view this entrance, you can see them coming from here, you can see them coming from here, and if no one else is helping you ward, which sometimes happens, you can ward over this wall. So now you're watching both entrances to the bot side of your jungle, whereas you're going to be going down here. Maybe people are stacked in that bush, maybe people are invading here, because one thing I want to try to teach you, True Love, today in this coaching session is you always want to be thinking about the worst case scenario. You always want to be thinking about, what if 5 people were in that bush? What if they were all on time and, they were literally in that bush ready for you to kill you? Or what if 5 people are invading, and because you didn't watch this entrance, now there's 5 people in that bush, and whichever one of your teammates checks that bush dies. Or maybe you go over there and check it to die. So sit here. If you guys aren't going to invade, which looking at your team comp, you guys probably shouldn't be. You sit here. If no one else, if Xerath isn't here watching this entrance, you can ward over that wall. But if you do have someone watching over here, I always just ward the pixel bush. And then usually I back because I back to swap out my trinket. You've probably seen me do that on my main account or on stream. It's really, really good when you're playing as melee into melee, but it's also really good in ranged versus ranged because it just helps you control the bushes. You want to go back and swap out your yellow trinket for your red trinket because that essentially lets you use both trinkets in the early stages of the game. You get to ward here and check for invades or see if like their jungler goes from here to your buff over here. You'll see that. You'll see it if he's ganking mid. It's just a really, really good ward. You can also ward here, but you get a ward down there, you back, you get a red trinket, and then like 20 seconds into the laning phase, you get to use your red trinket. So it's almost like you get to use like twice the vision control early in the game. Okay, so let's talk about our lane. We are a Seraphine and a Xerath into a Tristana ADC and a Brand with Dark Harvest. So very, very high kill potential on both sides. You guys are going to be playing a little more pokey. So in a lane like this, you want to be playing Seraphine as follow-up. Seraphine is not a super proactive champion. She's not the one that's usually going to be starting the poke, but she's really, really great at following up or making it so their poke doesn't hurt you by pressing W. Ideally, you want to let Xerath either land his stun, which is his E, or his slow, which is his W, and then you dump your stuff on top of that. Seraphine, honestly, a lot of people think that she's like a high poke champion in bot lane, but she's really not. Her skills are actually very, very difficult to land. They're super slow, you got really, really long cooldowns, and they're just not easy to land unless they're already CC'd or slow. And think about it, your E is actually a million times more effective if you let Xerath use it first. Because your E will root if they are already slowed. So his W slows, or his stun will stun, and then you drop your E on top of that. And it's like you're compounding the CC. You don't have any chance of missing it. It's a lot better. So that's, you always want to be thinking about matchups and how to play them and how to play your champion in this certain matchup. Let's talk about the leash, because you did actually give your Guardian to the jungler. You want to try to avoid doing that. Sometimes it's not possible, but here it definitely was. You just walked a little bit too close to him. If you hover over Guardian, it will have like a little radius and show you how close to someone you need to be to proc the Guardian. But you're actually walking into lane without a keystone, which is really bad, because Sion didn't need the shield. He's not like at risk of dying in the jungle by any means. And now you're just walking into lane with your Guardian down, and it's a pretty long cooldown. Another thing let's talk about is you are walking to lane the opposite way of your ADC. APC. Same thing. I know it's annoying. You guys should honestly probably be walking this way, but one of the tenets of the things that I teach in solo queue is trying to get on the same page as your team. 2 people doing the wrong thing is better than 1 person doing the right thing. 5 people doing the wrong thing is better than 2 or 3 people doing the right thing. So I would have just course corrected, realized, right about here that he's going this way, and walk with him. Again, oh, they actually brought a control ward. That's weird. But yeah, I think you guys should be walking the safe way anyways, because like these guys actually do have a lot of early kill pressure even at level 1. I don't think you guys win at level 1. So, worst case scenario, he gets jumped on and you're not there to protect him. Oh, another thing. You guys leashed too long. Look at this. My man Xerath is about to decimate these minions, and you are not there. You did not get that experience, which means you are not going to be hitting level 2 at the same time that Xerath is, which is really, really bad. Really, really bad. Definitely make sure you get the experience. So, this is good. We're already learning a lot of stuff about, the laning phase hasn't even started. We've got a lot to learn from and improve. So once again, we're looking to do follow-up. It's okay to hold on to your skills as Seraphine, especially because at level 1, you don't really have an easy way to proc your passive again. So it's not actually worth to use E here, because any decent player is 1, going to dodge that, and 2, you have no way to follow up on it. It's just not like a high impact or useful use of your E, because now your E is on cooldown for a long, long time. It's 12-second cooldown, and you have no way to get your passive, which means that you have no way to root them. So let's say Tristana hits level 2, because she is going to hit level 2 before you, because remember you missed XP. Now you have no way to root her, or to like root Brand from following up on the damage. It's totally fine. Like I said, we want to be playing champions like this reactively, very defensively. If you're looking for proactive poke, there's a lot of champions that can do it. Maybe pick up Zyra, but this is not how you want to be playing Seraphine. You want to be using her as reactive or defensive in terms of using your E like that. So look at this. Level 2, level 1. Very, very bad. Also, we just used our E, and you could be using her E right here and rooting her. See? These are the things I'm talking about. So imagine if you have your fully stacked passive right now, you haven't used your E, he lands his W, and then you hit her with 2 E's. 1, it's twice the damage, and 2, she's rooted, so you guys will be able to get a lot of follow-up damage. But most importantly, let's talk about you guys are way too far up. You're only level 1. This is 100% within the realm of possibility that Brand stuns you here and you die because Tristana jumps in. So there's 2 threats in this lane, right? Brand is not really a threat unless he has direct access to you, as in like you're not standing in a minion wave, but you're out of minions. Tristana, not so much. You're not really safe even when you're hiding behind minions, because she can just jump. The threat from Brand is the stun, and the stun doesn't go through minions, right? But you're out of minions, so now you're in threat of both of them. You probably aren't going to die here because these are low elo players and they're not punishing, but I promise you, you should be dying here. So let's see what happens. Alright, so you get heavily punished, you have to blow your flash, you're low on HP, and we're still level 1. So this is good. Lots and lots of mistakes to learn from already. Alright, nice. Also, look how useful Guardian is. That's why you don't want to give it to your jungler. Okie doke. So now we're level 2. It is a lot easier to stack up our 3 passives because we are going to be using our Q as a agent to reset our passive. So it is okay when you're like at 2 stacks to try to be poking with Q. Don't place yourself in danger because remember, you're outside of your minions here. So don't walk all the way up and give Brand like a direct line of access to you. But you can stand back from afar and maybe like Q the edge of this bush. If it hits him, cool. If it doesn't, oh well. Yeah. So once again, you're putting yourself, look at the line. If you can draw a direct line between you and Brand and there's no minions in front of you, that is a bad place to stand. What Tristana should actually be doing is jumping in on this and killing you. You should 100% die here again. Also, let's talk about target prioritization because you're actually using your root on Brand after he's already accomplished everything he wants to. He's already landed his combo. He's only level 2, right? He's already landed his combo. So you should actually be rooting Tristana and trying to desperately trying to make sure she doesn't jump in on this and kill you. It is good that you brought Exhaust because Exhaust is so good against champions like Tristana, against champions like Jax. It's really good. It's decent against Tahm Kench, and that's because their windows of damage are very obvious. It's obvious when Tristana is going to go in and do the most damage because she'll jump into you, right? It's obvious when champions like Zed when they should be exhausted because he does his ultimate, right? So I did notice you bring Exhaust pretty much every single game. I want to get into that habit. There's all kinds of good spells on Seraphine support. Ignite is okay. Heal, even Barrier sometimes. So don't get into the habit of bringing Exhaust just because you're on autopilot, but it is actually a pretty good spell for this game. Okay, so we had to go back because we blew our flash and most of our health bar. Let's see what we got. We got kind of like a variety pack of items. It's fine. You didn't really have a lot of gold to spend, so getting these items is pretty good. Nice. We're using our W to heal up our Xerath. It's not bad. So what we should be doing here is I personally would probably be trying to push this out because you guys actually bought and Tristana has not. So this is bad of Tristana. This is really bad of Tristana, but it can't be punished. Do you know why it can't be punished? So let's watch what happens. What spell did you just use? You just used the spell that is most important to have up for your 3-hit passive. And she saw that you missed it, so she's going in. Not a terrible exhaust. I probably would have used it a little bit earlier, but be careful about putting your E on such a long cooldown. That's why support Seraphine is not nearly as popular as she used to be. Her cooldowns are so long. They're hard to land and they're very punishing to miss. If you miss your E, or you don't have your 3-hit passive up, or your 3 passive, okay, once again, you're drawing that line between you and Brand. But yeah, if you miss your E or you don't have it for your passive, you're basically giving them like, you're putting a huge red flag up and saying, hey, there's like 13 seconds where you can jump on me and there's literally nothing I can do. I cannot CC you at all. So you're very vulnerable, and that's okay because Seraphine scales really well, and she does have her uses as a support, but you gotta play around the windows where you're very vulnerable. Nice poke. But remember, we don't have our 3-hit passive now. I keep calling it a 3-hit passive. It's not actually a 3-hit passive. It's like a 3-spell passive. You know what I mean when I'm saying that, right? Okay. Alright, so I would be trying to shove this in and just taking it back. They can't really fight you for this wave because you have the item advantage. You've bought and they have not. So, you know, barring any weird circumstances, you probably win a fight. So I would just be shoving this in and then maybe looking to even do a dragon. So I would be pinging the dragon for my jungler because Tristana's in a position where, one, she is not bought, right? She only has her starting items, and she's low health, and she has no potions. So, and she's under a turret. Most importantly, she's under a turret and has to be catching this wave. She cannot rotate. So I would be calling for a dragon right here. And remember to always be vocal as the support. The support and the jungler are the 2 best shot calling roles in the entire game. But you guys have them in a really good position here. They're stuck under their turret. There's no way they can come up and fight you, especially if you like drop a ward right here. So it should just be a free dragon. Alright, we're kind of just going back and forth. We're poking, we're poking. Okay, here we go. This is good. I love to see the rotation. I love to see it. When I do coaching, I try to, of course, point out the mistakes, but also emphasize the things that you're doing right so that you can continue doing those things. So I love that you see that there's a fight coming up here. You're first to rotate. You're first to rotate. You're getting a little too close to him. Way too close to him, actually, if we're being honest. But remember, Seraphine is super, super good at following up. Super good at following up. Okay, Jax has no flash. Alright, so we never really got a good chance to lock them down. Let's not go in any deeper here. Know your limits. Know when they got away. Know when to call it off. At most, I would just be clearing this ward and leaving. There you go. There you go. Let's get out of here. You're wasting a lot of time coming back here. He does not need leashed. He is a level 5 jungler. You should have just came back, started your back right here, so that you can get back out on the map. Time is precious. Time is the greatest commodity that you have in League of Legends, and you wasted about 20 seconds of it there. So the second you know that you're safe to take it back, don't leash for your jungler at level 5. He doesn't need it, trust me. Because we are playing enchanters, normally when I'm doing coaching sessions, I'm coaching someone like a Leona or an Alistar or a Thresh or a Pyke, I always advise them to path here. But I would say in this scenario, just so that they're out on the map in case a fight breaks out over here. But I would say in this scenario, you're playing an enchanter, level 5, you're not quite there, not quite ready for team fights yet. So it's okay to path back to bot here. Once again, we're wasting our E. We don't want to be doing that. We want to be looking for follow-up. With that bad boy. Also, you're not really getting a lot of value out of your W because you're not in danger. You're not actually shielding anything. So don't just use it because it's up, because that, way more than everything else, has an even longer cooldown. It's a 22-second cooldown right now. So make sure you're only using your W when you're actually in danger and soaking up damage. Oh, nice. Oh, baby. Let's go. Alright, so when Xerath is ulting like this, you guys have already won the fight, right? Brand is pretty much out of commission. Don't be running back here. Give Tristana a reason to not be able to juke the Xerath ults. Or, if she is going to continue juking, that's when you have an opportunity to get in free damage, right? So don't come back here when Xerath's ulting. Path forward. There's no way you guys lose it. It's a 2v1. Have some presence in the lane. There you go. I like this. I like this wording. Worst case scenario, they're junglers there, right? But that just makes it at worst a 2v2. The jungler at this stage of the game is not going to jump out of a bush and literally one-shot you. He's just not. And you just killed their support, so it's not like a 2v3. Alright, we're once again using our E when we shouldn't be. You got to break that habit. That's probably the worst habit that I've seen you have so far. Is you're using your E just completely superfluously, without reason at all. See? Now we have no E for 6 seconds. We have no way to defend ourselves. No way to defend ourselves. If you had your E, you could... Brand was pretty out of position, honestly. Tristana's low health. She's not going to be going in. Probably could have thrown the E on him and maybe gotten another kill. Yeah, you got to break that habit. And I really think that once you start looking at Seraphine as a follow-up champion rather than a hard engaged champion, there are hard engaged champions. There are good poke champions to play in the support role, but Seraphine's not really one of them. You want to be scaling up, playing for team fights. You want to be, following up. Let Xerath get the first pick, or first hit, and then you follow up. Your abilities are super, super slow, so it's really hard for you to, be the first one to strike. This is kind of a wasted ward. This is a very wasted ward. So you want to be consciously thinking about every single ward that you do, right? What is this ward doing? So you could say, well, it's making sure that, I don't get dove. Is it actually going to stop you from getting dove? Or is it just going to give you 1 second of heads up? It's not going to stop you. And also, you're not going to get dove. Your jungler's right here. There's no way. There's just no way. If Jax was going to at some point dive you, he's going to walk into this bush, see Scion's here, and back out. You just ain't getting dove right now. Also, the most efficient way to clear a wave is your passive hit on your Q. So you can use your Q twice. That it destroys waves. Oh, that is what you're doing. Okay, good. Okay, there we go. Great pick. Great catch. You recognized he was out of position. The angle on the ulti was a little weird, but that's okay. The idea there was great. The execution, it worked. Honestly, let's talk about the angle though, because it's very lucky that this actually hit. If you aim it this way, it actually puts him in a way worse position because then he has to path into the wall. Whereas if this barely just misses, he gets to keep walking this way, which is the direction he wants to go anyways. If you shoot it this way, you limit his options, right? And that also applies to Seraphine E's. You can kind of like make them path into ways that they don't want to, because then the options become, you know, tank the ultimate or E or whatever CC, and you can kind of apply that to a lot of skill shots. But this landed somehow, so it's good. It's all good in the neighborhood. We got the kill. Great job. Great pick. Alright, now what we want to be doing is shoving this up, and I know that like certain ADCs think that the cardinal rule is that the support should never be touching the wave, but you need to be helping him shove this. It is not time to back yet. You got one more wave to push. So notice how this is not really touching the turret. You want to be taking this wave before you rotate to this. You're not quite in the position to be doing the dragon yet. Because if you take this one last wave, then you've got a wave and a half crashing into their turret, and the ADC has to stay there and farm it. So you guys needed to do one more wave before you came to this dragon. And then there is absolutely no chance Tristana could ever come. And you'd have another wave. Like, you guys just missed a wave of experience too, so. You got the dragon though. Good stuff, good stuff. But yeah, be thinking about that. The rule of thumb is that you want the wave to be touching the enemy turret before you rotate to anything. Because that removes the enemy's ability to rotate. Okay, so once again, got to be careful about drawing this line between you and Brand. I know you know what Brand does, True Love. I know you know what he does. And I know you know that you can't be like this. You can't be like this. Even if your E does land there, one, it's not going to root. But let's say it does root, that doesn't stop him from getting his damage off. Whereas stuns are much, much more deadly. You know, you guys are in a pretty fortunate position where right now Brand really isn't doing any damage. But you're going to be in games and scenarios where he's going to. So let's, I know I'm not here to coach Xerath, but let's talk about why he died. We got no vision. We got no vision, and he lines himself right up for the Brand. You could draw a line straight between him and Brand. Also, the exhaust came out way, way, way too late. Good flash, though. Alright. So, now would be a pretty decent time to be leaving. I would not be staying for this, especially now that you've just used your E and removed your only ability that can possibly defend you if you get dove. This is not worth your life. You have vision here, so you know the jungler's not coming. Oh, actually, we see jungle mid. But these guys can very easily dive you. These guys can very easily dive you, and it's not even like that big of a risk. Alright, so it's going to be a 1-for-1, but you just got to learn to play within your limits. If they played that better, it's a 1-for-nothing, and you just shouldn't have been there at all. I could tell pretty early on that you shouldn't be staying there. But okay, Tristana gets executed. We got the CDR boots. Nice, nice, nice. You're scaling up nicely. You're scaling up super, super nicely. You want to be playing in a game like this I honestly would be building Moonstone. You have a very, very tanky front line. You got Scion and 2 Bruisers. And they're also pretty mobile, so I don't think you're going to have any problems with your engages, which is kind of like why you build Shurelya's. But I think you might have a little bit of a problem with your sustain. And if you buy Moonstone and keep any of these guys alive, just like one little tick of health goes so far on these champions, especially like Aatrox and Aurelia, just because they get so much life back. So I think Moonstone is going to make a bigger difference in team fights than Shurelya's ever would. You probably could have cut that brand off and gotten the kill, but it's all good. He went back, which is pretty much just as good as getting a kill, because now you guys get the 2v1 lane. Alright, we're rotating mid. Once again, you want to be careful about letting your Guardian waste. What if a fight breaks out right now? You basically are walking in with no keystone. You're using your sweeper when you already know you have vision control here, because they've got a control ward. I remember, your champion is a million times better at following up. Also, one thing that I should be commenting on, you're walking back to lane without getting your passive procced. Same here. You're not using your spells to have your passive up. And there's no real reason to. There's no real reason for it. You want to be using your Q as a reset agent. So just right here, it's not like you're lacking in mana. You got plenty of mana and mana regen. So right here, Q. Just throw a Q. It's pretty short cooldown, 5.36 seconds. You want to always be traversing the map with your passive up. And I think I've seen you walk to lane 1 or 2 times without getting your passive back. And I meant to bring it up, but I just forgot to. But now I've remembered. But anyways, so you should have your passive here, which means your E would have rooted him. Your second E would have. But really, what you should be doing is letting Aurelia frontline for you, land her stun, and then E on top of that. Your other option would be to just hard engage with your ultimate right away. So let's talk about from most ideal to least ideal. Most ideally, Brand is on a ward and doesn't seem to know it. So you ulti here. You just straight up open with the ultimate and then dump your E's on top of them. You could also let Aurelia be face checking and land her E, or land her stun, and then use your E on top of that. But this E does absolutely nothing, right? This E does nothing but let him know that you know he's there. So I would have just opened with my ulti. But think about it, man. Like, because it's really going to inform how you position in teamfights and how you position in skirmishes, laning phase, everything. Seraphine is a champion that is designed to follow up. She is a million times better at it. It's the reason why her ultimate gets longer when it hits teammates. They want you to position at the back of the team. They want you to follow up. It's what she's really, really good at. Okay, so this is just like kind of a little bit of a fiesta. It's a wasted flash here. You 100% still die. So, don't panic flash. But that was a huge fiesta team fight. And I think we're kind of getting to the stage of the game where it's going to become a little bit more difficult to coach because it's going to be like kind of fiestas all over the place. But let's focus on what we can change, because we can't change the fact that this game is probably going to go full fiesta, right? Alright, once again, we're coming back to lane without our passive. Oh, no, we spawn with our passive, actually. But if you're looking to purely wave clear, you don't actually want to use your E. You want to use your Q. You want to use your Q because it's got an execute function. So, the play there is to just keep them off the turret, right? So we want to use our Q to do that, not our E. Alright, and then in moments like this, no reason to not have your passive up. Just use a Q. Throw it off to the side. Have it ready for when you need it. Okay, so team is fighting over here, and we are lagging way, way, way behind. It looks like we kind of got caught up with clearing a ward. And the game is moving on without us. Gotta keep up. Gotta keep up. What we doing over here? What we doing over here? Think about the worst case scenario. What if there are 3 people in there? What if there are 2 people in there? Right? You want to be near your team. You're very, very vulnerable without them. And you're a million times more effective when you're with them. So be near them. Be staying at the back of the team fight. Decent ulti. There we go. There we go. Alright. Not bad. Not bad. I think you got some decent usage out of it. You brought some good utility. Your team cleaned up. Good stuff. Good stuff. Alright. We back on the map. Alright. At this point, I would probably be encouraging my team to 5v5. Seraphine is way, way, way stronger of a team fighter than Brand is. Okay, we know where these guys are. We're taking pot shots. We're getting really, really close. And once again, our passive is not procced. So what happens if Jax flash stuns you guys? You can't even use your W. Hey, throw the True Love. That's what I want you to focus on next game. Focus on always having your passive up. Now, it doesn't necessarily apply to laning phase because you don't have infinite laning. But with the items that you buy as Seraphine, look, base mana regen, right? Base mana regen, base mana regen. You have tons of mana. No reason to not have your passive up here. So if there's one thing you get away from this coaching session, hopefully you come away with a lot more, right? I think we've gone over a lot of topics, but there's one thing I want you to make sure you always have your passive up. Look at this. What if someone's in there? Worst case scenario, True Love. Think of the worst case scenario. I know you got a ward, and at some point you have to take risks, but at least make sure your team is in relative proximity. Alright, right here, right here. Ooh. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's way easier for Seraphine to be follow-up. Let your Xerath land a stun, then throw your ulti down on them. Unless they're all grouped up and you think you're going to land like a 3-man, this is a hard ult to land. It's really, really hard. And even if it does land, your team's not really in... they're not close enough to follow up on it, right? Ooh, be really careful. When team fights break out, let's talk about this. When team fights break out, you very rarely want to be using your double Q. You don't want to use your passive on your Q, because all that does is damage. Trust me, you as Seraphine support are not going to be the main source of damage. That is not what people need from you. What they need is slows and roots and heals and speed ups. So your passive W in team fights, God tier. Your passive E, if it's being used as follow-up, God tier. Nice, nice, nice. Passive Q, very, very low value because, one, you're just not building a lot of AP, so you're just not going to get, it's just not going to do a lot of damage, and it's hard to land. See, look at this. Another one. If you had waited for Sion to knock him up, then use your E, she'd be CC'd to death. Now, she's still going to die. You guys got her, but... Alright, alright. We're getting another dragon. Let's go, let's go. Alright, there we go. Once again, we're pathing a little too close. You don't got to be giving him a kiss, alright? You're a very long-range character. Okay, it's a Baron time. It's Baron time. 4 people are dead. 30 seconds left. It's time to Baron. I want to see you spam pinging that Baron. Hey, it's Baron time, True Love. It is Baron time. 4 people are dead. I think one of the biggest problems with low elo is people are so afraid of Baron for no reason at all. They have convinced themselves that it is some sort of late game raid boss that unless you guys are all level 18, you can't even look at it. I'm telling you, 4 people down for 30 seconds, easiest Baron of your life. Easiest Baron of your life. So, you know, that's just kind of like, you guys didn't realize that you could do Baron. Even if you get this inhibitor, which you guys aren't going to, it's way worse than getting the Baron. So, you know, I know this isn't purely your fault because no one else called for the Baron either, but I'm not here to coach everyone else, True Love. I'm telling you, if you spam ping that Baron right there, that's a game changer. That's a game changer. Especially because the enemy team's deaths were staggered so much. Some of them were spawning in 30 seconds. Some of them were spawning in 10 seconds. What that's going to do is that's going to make them come and face check the Baron one by one. Because someone's got to check it, right? Meanwhile, you guys got 4 people DPSing it. Alright, I'm not going to fault you for that. You tried to save your homie. He was caught out. He was out of position. Alright, you're a little late to this fight, so I probably wouldn't be prioritizing clearing vision over here when the fight is already over here. Alright, now we're doing Baron. Okay, it's still a good Baron call. It's still a good Baron call. You got to be there. There you go. There you go. Alright, see how easy this Baron is? I'm telling you, the Baron, that if you called the Baron before, it would have been even easier. People got to get it out of their head that Baron is some late game monstrosity. He's really easy to kill. If you have a tank and a DPS, you can do the Baron. Oh my god, man, you picking up quite a lot of kills in late game. Alright, that's looking like the end of the game. Wow, you ended up being 7, 3, and 12. Jesus. Good stuff, good stuff. Alright, so once again, I feel like I've covered like 40 different concepts, so let's just go over a couple of them. Make sure you got your passive up. Make sure you're playing Seraphine as a follow-up champion. Her skills are just too slow, and they're just so much better at being followed up. Make sure you're positioning at the back of team fights. Make sure you're not giving these melee champions a kiss. You got a huge advantage over them, and that's your range. They have to make the distance. They have to close that gap. Don't do it for them. Biggest mistake I see you making, though, is just the passive thing. So just always be mindful of that. Make sure you're thinking of the worst case scenario when you're walking up the bushes. Make sure you're not. Make sure you're analyzing the threats in lane. For instance, you're not safe even if you're in minions. If you're against Tristana, because she can still jump on top of you, but she's not going to jump on top of you unless you get stunned by Brand. So as long as you're behind a minion, Brand's not going to stun you. And that will change with matchups. Like, for instance, Leona can engage through minions. But, yeah, you just got to know where you're safe, know where you're not. That's it. That's it for me. This was a good game, True Love. I absolutely believe you are capable of getting out of bronze. I plan to see you in gold by the end of this season. So let's see it. Let's do it. Apply these things. True Love, you know me. I'm an open book. You can contact me on Discord, Twitter, Twitch, OnlyFans, wherever you want to DM me if you have any questions at all about this coaching session. I wanted to keep it straight and to the point. You know, we could go over more complicated concepts like the fact that, you know, you can alt flash and change the animation of Seraphine, but we're bronze 3. Let's focus on our fundamentals. All right, that's what it's about. I get people coming in my stream all the time saying, "How do you get out of bronze? How do you get out of bronze?" Fundamentals. Keep it simple. Understand your champion. Understand the role that you play as your champion at all stages of the game, and that is going to inform your actions. All right. You are not the pokiest champion in the world, so don't try to play like one. You are not a frontliner, so do not play like one. True Love, thank you so much for the coaching session, and I hope this helped you. I seriously believe in you, and like I said, if you have any questions, hit me up. If you guys watch this on YouTube, feel free to put any questions down in the comment section. Hopefully this helped you as well. Take it easy, guys. Peace.